Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Showcase on Bloodborne. Sorry it's been a few days, I've been busy. But anyway, on to the next requested item, because those requests keep on coming. Or have they stopped? We shall see. So, today's weapon's a bit odd. I never reviewed a firearm, and this is not a real firearm, but it's quite close to that. It is Simon's Bowblade. Is there Simon or Simeon? I'll go to Simon. Choice weapon of Simon, one of the first Healing Church's hunters. Simon despised firearms, and so the church's workshop had it specially fashioned for his liking. Large curved blades served as the bow when transformed. Besides and a few close friends, Simon was scoffed at for his choice of arms. Who would dare face the beast with a measly bow? Well, when Simon shot these people with a bow, they were silenced. It's probably the case, given that no one's left alive by the time you get there, pretty much. Other than the beasts themselves. And a handful of, desperate people. Simon killed them all. In the DLC, actually, I don't think there isn't anyone really sane left. Now, the funny thing about Simon's Bowblade is when you hold the blade in blade form, it's odd. You're holding it backwards. Or maybe it's meant to be intended to be held backwards. Maybe the blade is on the opposite side of a bend. That makes you have to reach even down and further to swipe someone. Having it the other way, it's akin to most blades having the curve forward, making it more of a chopping motion, like an axe. Having it the other way is kind of not really helping you in terms of momentum and leverage. Because you're hitting more the opponent with your tip of your blade, and, that's not good for blades. But anyway, when you transform it, it's a sudden switch. So you got your arrow there, and you got your bow. I don't even want to think how this could even work as a bow, but whatever. Like, the only thing that would flex is the string itself. There's no flex in this bow at all, because it's metal. It's heavy steel. It uses a blade. It cannot... Not to mention, where'd you even get the guide to put your arrow through? Where'd you even get the handle? I can get the idea that the blade splits in half, but this is one of the weirdest trick weapons for this the weirdest trick weapon transformation. Because getting from step A to step B is a bit of a strange transition of things appearing out of thin air. Weird, but regardless, this is your bow. Is it a good bow? Well, there's only way to find out, but it does adhere to most of the scoring for firearms, which I have not covered a firearm yet, but consider this the first. First and not first. Yeah, it's the first. Let's move on. Alright, but before I go, I'll move on. This is pretty amusing when you do this, though. I'm not sure how you would split this blade apart by whipping it, but hey, it's pretty amusing. Okay, enough of that. Going on to the stats for Simon's Bowblade. You can see there's 80 damage split right down the middle. As you probably guessed, there's both physical damage and then you transform it goes to blood damage. That makes sense, because it's more of a gun. All guns, pretty much, I believe all guns, adhere to blood attack. But anyway, the bonus damage is equal. Got 37 for both, starting off. Okay, moving down to special effects. Quicksilver bullets, we use 1 per arrow. Durability is not exceptionally great, but it is still a firearm in a sense. The attribute bonus is C for skill, C for bloodage, and D for arcane. Yet again, there's arcane. Anyway, going on attribute requirement, you need 8 strength, 15 skill, and 9 bloodage. And no arcane. Strange that you get only equal bonus for skill and bloodage, but you need more skill to wield it than bloodage. Strange, is it not? Anyhow, let's move on. Now, going on to the actual damage itself it does, it adheres to mostly thrust damage. Although I question this, because as you'll see with most attacks, they are slash based, not really jabbing. Of course, when you get to arrows, oh, definitely thrust based. And then the arrows themselves actually adhere to the blood attack, which is still just straight damage. Doesn't have any specific bonus or negative bonus on opponents by itself. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. So, treat it as the same idea as the previous weapons that split between normal and blood, and not at the same time. If that's easy or hard to do, oh well. Going on to the animations, the basic attack for the blade, you can see it's a lot of sweeping slash motions, which would be definitely more augmented, better, if the blade was the right way around. The power attack is a heavy slash, lumbering so, again, blades backwards. Power attack is a double spin. You see this pretty frequently in Dark Souls, in this kind of attack. Alright. So you have the back step, and you can see the jab, so it's a good thrust attack. The power attack version is about pretty much an upward slash. As you see, it's kind of like a roundabout. Interesting. Alright. Now for the roll attack. Light rolling attack, as you see, there's an uppercut. And the power attack is pretty much a side slash. I'll do it one more time. There we are. Alright. Now the switch. And you see when I switch, it fires an arrow. A little tricky. Sneak attack. Alright. Basic attack, you fire an arrow. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do this to save myself some ammo. And let's see. Power attack, you fire an arrow. Except it's a lot more dramatic. Charge attack, you fire an arrow and it's really dramatic. Okay. Now for the step back, you see, you fire an arrow. It's quick. You step up power attack though, you see it fire the same heavier or heavier dramatic arrow attack. The rolling, you fire another arrow. Did you guess what's power rolling? What it will do? You guessed it, fires another arrow in the dramatic sense. Now what does the L2 do? Well, you see that pointy spear thing? It's your arrow. You can whip it at opponents. Light little slash. It's not really a qualitative attack, it says get the hell away from me attack. So yeah. It doesn't matter what animation you do, it's the same no matter what. What you can do with it though is a switchback. So you see there. Nice little jab. Moving on. Going on to the upgrade for Simon's Bowblade. Okay, you can see that both damage goes up equally, and the first upgrade you get the attribute bonus goes to a B for both skill and blood tinge. So both these bonuses are equal in upgrading too, which is pretty good. Now, as I will not be taking this to the furthest level, but I'll at least give you the spoiler now that this is one of the few weapons that can get both an S for both skill and blood tinge when fully upgraded. So yeah, it definitely rewards your skill and blood tinge. You can see just going a little halfway into the twin bloodstone upgrades, you can go. It goes to A for both blood tinge and skill. And before long, it'll do the same, and even arcane went up slightly. Well, that's worth. Though arguably not a whole bunch. So yes, I do not have the blood chunks to support it going any further, but it is very good for scaling. Very good. Now for the arcane, it doesn't really change its nature when you add arcane damage. It just adds arcane damage by the base. So I don't really find these very helpful. Yeah, some people can make use of it, but I don't believe it can be fully used to its intentional purpose as an arcane weapon. Moving on. Alright, time for performance. The blade should be good for one-on-ones and maybe both small tight-knit groups. You see there, it's plenty DPS. That's pretty good. Let's move it on to another slightly bigger group. Let's do a quick slash. Alright, so the large sweep motions do definitely help there, but let's try the bow and arrow. You see its incredibly quick attack is rather useful for stunning enemies and slowing them down. But we're not trying to slow down enemies, we're trying to kill them. Okay, that was a critical hit. That was pretty good. It was right at the moment that he did hit me, but it was at his most vulnerable moment. Oh, she goes with a lot of blood vials doing that. Now, as you see, the arrow, just its arrow width, as I'll call it, is very short range. It's not terribly quick either. It's not a dedicated attack, as I mentioned before. Best not to rely on it like that. Ugh. Okay. Moving on to more bigger opponents. Executioner. We'll start with the bow, the blade form, and then switch into the bow blade. But anyway, the basic blade has definitely DPS to sustain good constant damage, or continuous damage, and the bow version, well, it's mainly to attack from a safer distance, although this game is not for snipers. There's no snipers in this game. Though be careful, your enemy still can guard against your attacks, which is rather obnoxious for any projectile being used. Okay, let's try against some armored fellows. You guys have high, heavy armor rating, and you see the base slash attacks do not that great of damage. I can hit him a bunch of times, but doesn't exactly kill him. Okay, I'll have to try that again later, because I only hit him with one of those attacks. Let's try this all again. Another one of these little drones. Let's try that charge attack, and we did 50 for the only missed 50 damage the first time, so not exactly impressive. So yeah, let's try some arrows. Okay, damage for arrows. That's a charge attack? Ooh, that's not very impressive. Ooh. Okay, we've seen the damage values, and the verdict is in. Simon's Bowblade is not very good against enemies with high armor rating. So that's for sure. Let's ignore these guys. Ignoring those guys is a bad idea, but it's besides the point. It's not very good against armor. You can see after doing 3 hits, only 260 damage. That's not very great. Yeah, not very great indeed. And fighting the this War Maiden is just an uphill battle by herself, and with her little drones that I decided to ignore, which was a very poor idea, it's becoming a battle that's not worth fighting. Now I want to test something. You can see here that the shots do not pass through opponents. It would have been a nice little probe if they did, but then again, it would make sense if these guys were in armor and it passed right through. No, it's a fight I'm going to have to run away from, unfortunately, with this weapon. However, I will be back. Let's move on to the next fight. The Shadows of Yharnam. Should go a little bit better, so I'll immediately just entice one of them with one of the arrows. Now, can the bow keep up with DPS? Well, yes, it can. Very easily. Now that's what you call DPSing opponent to death. So don't worry, it's there. Let's try it again, except a little bit more of a dynamic battle. That was a bit lackluster. Alright. Gets more and more slower opponents. Oh, the blade still does wonderfully in terms of damage. Very powerful. Not to mention that DPS is also pretty good. But now this one's dead. Let's choose against the bow against the other version, which didn't decide to wait. So, with quick attacks like the arrows, it's always nice. However, make sure you hit your opponents, not hit the railing like I did. Charge attacks, though, aren't very impressive. It's only like just a little bit more than double the damage, which is great, I suppose, but it's just maybe without an upgrade, the numbers aren't great. Now you can see here with me with the little arrow slice, jab, cut, what you want to call it, just not very effective. Best to rely just on the arrows. Or the blade itself. It's always good to keep your opponents guessing, especially in PvP. But enough of this, let's go on to the score. Now, going on to the pros and cons of the blade portion of Simon's Bowblade. The pros are, this is a sword with excellent DPS, it's pretty good. Also, the overall damage is also pretty good. And this will have S scaling, and it will be very powerful in terms of scaling if you continually put your points into skill. Yes. On the cons, however, the animations are a bit bland, because they only do mostly slashing attacks. There's very few dedicated jabbing for those thrust attacks that its damage claims to do so much of. Yet we saw with the armor, that's an entirely different story. So yeah, that's the only major con in my books for this sword. Okay. Going into numbers here. Damage gets an 8 out of 10. Definitely a lot of damage. Just doesn't do so great against armor, because of those animations. Now, going on to reach, it's slightly longer than most blades I've found, even in Bloodborne here. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Going on to animations, where it falters a little bit, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It has good DPS, but the lack of dedicated jabbing animations and moves kind of leaves it a little bit to be desired. You know, how it faced off against armor. Now, going on to bonus, it is pretty good. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. You'll definitely see a little bit later on, when I infuse some blood gems, that even with the scaling of A, it's definitely powerful enough. Miscellaneous, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a fairly good blade attached to a firearm, so when you switch, you don't actually lose your firearm. So again, it's pretty much an excellent package. Very well balanced. So in total, I gave the blade portion of Simon's Bowblade 31 out of 50. It's a great weapon. Definitely so. Great. Moving on to Simon's Bowblade portion. Now I had to change my scoring a little bit because it's a firearm, not a melee weapon. So that's what it looks like. Okay, but anyway, on the pros, this is a projectile you can actually charge. Most projectiles don't have this advantage. And the basic attack is actually rather quick. Not the projectile, the attack. Alright. And it's easy to switch back to a melee weapon in an instant. Okay, going on to cons. The projectile itself is not the most fast, not really that quick. The bullets are twice the speed. Though it's not the slowest projectile, it's definitely up there in terms of slow speed. Also, the L2 attack is not really an attack. It's pretty pathetic. Yeah. Alright, going on to the score for the Bowblade. Damage, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. There's a lot of damage, and even that charge, you can charge up that attack, is also definitely a big boon to it all. Now, speed. I'm going to have to explain this one. Speed is encompassing both the projectile and the animation to launch that projectile. Now, it's true that the basic attack is quick, but every other attack is not, and neither is the projectile. In terms of speed, it's not last. It comes third from last in terms of speed in all the projectiles. And there's quite a few of them in the game. So yeah. Alright. Going on to bonus though, definitely gets points there. I give it 8 out of 10. Same as the blade, because it's equal. Miscellaneous, I'll give a 7 out of 10. Because again, the same reasons for the previous one. They're easily interchangeable. They're both quite versatile. You can pull out one at the drop of a hat at a moment's notice and switch back. So in total, I give the Bowblade 24 out of 40. It's a great weapon. Definitely great. The best firearm out there? No. But it's nice to have it attached to a blade so flawlessly. Alright, now what does it look like when I put some blood gems into this? Well, I don't have the scaling for S on this weapon, but it can easily be attained. I just don't have enough blood chunks for all that. But anyway, here's what it looks like with A. Yeah, lots. Double the base physical damage and the bonus damage alone. So yeah, definitely a lot there. Although it does lower the overall durability of my weapon and makes it wear out quicker, that's a very minor inconvenience. Let's watch a short montage. So after all that, we can definitely see the value of a Bowblade. So, anyone who lied their left assignment is now dead. Extra dead. Whether it be impaled by a blade, or shot in the face with an arrow. Either way, it's a very effective weapon, that's for sure. And even in the hands of a player, this is good in both PvE and PvP. The drop of a hat in PvP, you can just dodge and just whip out an arrow at an opponent. They're hurt, and you switch back to your blade to continue the fight. That's incredibly useful. Definitely balanced. It's one of the better weapons in this game, in my opinion. But that's been Showcase for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care out there.